Hey there, everybody. Figured I would just shoot a real quick video for my YouTube channel here of some of the coral points I've done and kept in the past. Of course, I've given some away to friends. I've sold a couple, but I keep a lot of my points and just hang them on the walls and try to learn from them and do a little better. But I figured I'd go ahead and shoot this. Everything on this table is pretty much coral. I've got a couple non-coral points over in this case, which I'll point out. Then I've got my starter case, which I figured I would go ahead and start with. And again, when I started flint napping, this was I don't know, maybe my first year or something like that. This work. I liked glass. I like that green fiber optic glass. That's one of the reasons I really just broke in and started napping, as I saw somebody did a bear jaw knife with that green fiber optic glass, and it just blew me away. And I said, I need to learn this. And I already wanted to learn how to make points, but that made me want to learn how to nap some knives. And you can see a lot of this stuff's ugly. There's some daysite or dacite, a couple fiber optic points in there, a little Keokuk chert, there's some novaculite, but some obsidian there on the bottom. And I was real happy with that point. That one was one of the first ones I made that I was like, you know what, that almost looks like a little Florida Noonan. And probably my first 3 points right here out of some beer bottles out of the bottom. Thought that was really cool, and that got me into it too. So figure I'd start with that, because that's where I started. No problem showing that off. And then since then, you know, I fell in love with coral. So that's what most of the rest of this table is. I've got a lot of percussion work here. Here I've got more in the house. And then some of this other stuff is all pressure work that I've worked off some of the more colorful spalls. So after that, again, I went ahead and I made this case of colorful Florida points, and I napped that Florida state there in the middle. And you can kind of see just from the table the wide variety of colors that coral comes in. And I tried to do mostly Florida style points, but sometimes I just venture off into something else, or sometimes I'll actually break a point and then you're trying to salvage it into something. But I really like the way this case turned out. You can see there's a lot of Noonans and Hillsborough type points in here, because I like those little stem points. And then I've got a couple other maybe citrus types, Hernandos, stuff like that, getting into those other later cultures. And then I go over here. Here's the state of Florida. I really like this. I kind of finished this up last year. A lot of points in here. But again, some years you go through a year and you have time to nap a couple points in the whole year, and sometimes you haven't enough time to knock one out every week, couple of weeks, something like that. Did a little coral shark over here in the corner. I like that guy. Another little, that's a real sharp point actually. I just call it a fish point. Again, you can kind of try to get different angles here. You can see some of the flake scars in some of this, but some of these are coming from really difficult rocks with a lot of cracks in them, and we're trying to salvage at least 1 point out of the rock. And then I've got some other points here I've been working on probably this year. I don't know if it's just this year or maybe starting a little bit last year. Getting nice and thin. Do a couple little paleos here and there, little Simpsons. And again, I just like the color. I like the color, and I like seeing how thin I can get them. So there's that case. Here's a couple big percussion pieces that I knocked out recently. That's the one from that video I did a couple weeks ago. This is out of Bay Bottom chert or ledge flint. A couple other things there. And then lastly, some of the knives. The only thing I haven't made on this table is right here on the end, and I'll talk about that in a second. But these have all got coral blades. Of course, I make knives out of other stuff like obsidian, but if you get a really nice colorful piece of coral, man, it looks good on a knife handle. And these are some of my keepers. I've got Neil Fair carved the handles on some of these at the end here. This one's just awesome. You can see this Native American head with a buffalo in there. And that coral knife, I made that a few years ago. This one's set in a black bear jaw. I got this off of a legally obtained, of course, but bought that off a website. I think Jason Sumter's the one that made this handle. Awesome corncob handle with a coral blade there. Love that knife, really super sharp. And then Bear Carpenter, one of my buds here met offline. He's one of these masters at making knives. I sent him some material and he sent me this knife back, which is just an amazing knife. I think that's a ram's horn. And you can kind of see beautifully done agatized coral blade there. And I just thought it was a great representation since I'm talking about coral. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Still love it. I like making big mosaics, so I've got another pile of points in there that I'll make something out of here soon, and I'll keep the channel updated. Hope you guys like it.